Hello again, Reggie Moon with Eclipse USA Realty. Today I'm talking about the 3 contingencies that protect the buyer during the contract process of acquiring a house, of course. The first one is the due diligence period. That is the amount of time you have to inspect the property, and at any time during that period you can terminate if there's something about the property that you don't like, or something about the property that the seller won't fix, or it could be something about the subdivision. It could be the way the traffic is in the morning or at night, anything like that. During your due diligence period, you have the right to inspect and basically observe what's going on in the house as far as the systems operating, plumbing, electrical, air conditioner. That's the time frame that you get an inspection. That is also the time frame that you make sure there's no termites. And if there's something that either can't be resolved, or that even if it could be resolved you don't like it, or things that like around the subdivision that the seller can't fix, or traffic or something like that, the time to get out of the contract is during the due diligence period. Typically it's about 10 days. So that's the first contingency, is a 10-day due diligence period. The second big contingency is your financing period. This is the period of time where you're head-to-head with your lender, ensuring that you can get the loan. Now, a lot of people say, well, if it takes about 40 days to get a loan, then I'll have a 40-day financing contingency. No, you won't. Sellers are not going to lock up that house in the hopes that in the next 40 days you can figure out if you can get your financing or not. Typically, you'd be way ahead of it. You'd already have a pre-approval from a lender. You, in most situations, should already be working with a lender before you're even looking at houses. So a good financing period or financing contingency should be about 12 or 15 days. Lenders that want you to take 30, 40 days for your financing, they're basically making it to where a seller is going to say no to your offer. So it needs to be around 12 or 15 days. That's your financing contingency. The third really big contingency is the appraisal contingency. This is, let's say it's a $150,000 house, and you have an appraisal contingency that says the house has to appraise for at or above $150,000. If it appraises for, in this example, $140,000, you're protected, because the seller's not going to say, hey, you offered me $150,000, I agreed to it. It only appraised for $140,000. You need to bring an extra $10,000 to the table. No, that's not how it works. The house has to appraise for at or above the contract price, the appraisal contingency. At the same time, on the other side of that coin, the seller, if it appraises for $140,000 in this example, doesn't have to sell it to you either, because he agreed to sell it to you at $150,000. So you both can't hold each other, at a crossroads and say, hey, well, you agreed to pay $150,000. Well, it only appraised for $140,000. Well, you need to bring an extra $10,000, or you need to sell it for $140,000. No. The appraisal contingency covers both buyer and seller, in that if it doesn't appraise for at least the contract price, if the seller won't come down to that appraised price, then you don't have a deal. You don't have to make up the difference. So you got due diligence period, financing contingency, and appraisal contingency. Those 3 contingencies protect the buyer the most in most all real estate contracts. They're pretty much the standard. You can have other contingencies, which we'll talk about some other time. If you have any question on this or any video, call me anytime. It's Reggie Moon with Eclipse USA Realty, 404 Eclipse. Thanks.